Hello and welcome to South Carolina's installment of Voices of Agriculture. I'm your host, Reggie Hall. During this installment, we'll visit South Carolina Christmas tree farms and learn of traditions that have grown and flourished over time. We'll offer you some tips of how to keep your fresh-cut Christmas tree looking its best through the holiday season, and then we'll talk to our chef about some traditional South Carolina holiday fare. We'll introduce you to our outstanding farmer in the field, and then we'll close with a special holiday Palmetto Portraits. All that and more coming up next on Voices of Agriculture, South Carolina installment. Hello and welcome back to South Carolina's installment of Voices of Agriculture. South Carolina ranks number 10 among all states that have cut your own or fresh cut Christmas trees. It's a $7.5 million industry in South Carolina. And while most people may think Christmas trees come from states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maine, and others, there's a wide variety of trees planted in South Carolina at dozens of farms where families gather to carry out their traditions every year to choose and cut and collect their Christmas tree to take it home for the holidays. One such farm is the Penland Christmas Tree Farm in York, South Carolina, on the North Carolina border near Charlotte. Like 98% of the farms in America, the Penland Christmas Tree Farm is family-owned and operated.
And one of my forestry professors was talking about growing Christmas trees. And I said, well, that would be a good opportunity to keep the outdoor activity of growing trees, even though that I finished up in math and was going and worked in the textile industry. It was always a second profession. It supported our family as far as kids' education and also for land purchases, because we were renting land at the very beginning.
Steve and wife Judy Penland sold their first trees in 1972, just 6 years after then-single Steve planted them. In their heyday, Penland Tree Farm sold as many as 4,000 to 5,000 trees each year. That's scaled back now to about 2,000 to 3,000 a year. The farm opens its gates to the public each year the day after Thanksgiving, and usually by about the 10th of December, 80% of their annual crop is sold. Steve says that's true nationally as well. But don't be mistaken, Christmas tree farms are more than a one-month enterprise. It's a year-round process to keep the farm in shape.
In January, we start pulling the stumps up and getting any of the we got cleared of the field. We'll start plowing the fields, getting those ready and getting ready for the new crop. And then in March, we're starting to put out our herbicides to control our weeds and grasses. April, we're starting to do our shaping along with in May. And then in June, we'll do a little bit of herbicide, more insecticide, a little bit of that. Then in August, we start back our shaping again to get the trees ready, along with keeping our fields mowed and the herbicide on it. As soon as that gets through, we're all going in and just trying to get the fields ready to open up for the year.
Mike MacArthur is another South Carolina Christmas tree grower. His Hollow Creek Tree Farm is in the central part of the state in Gilbert, South Carolina. We caught up with him last summer as he worked to prune and shape the trees he sold this year. MacArthur and the Penlands do more than just sell Christmas trees this time of year. A visit to their farms provides a family experience, enabling families to build traditions.
And you know when you go out and cut it down yourself, you're getting the freshest of the fresh. Right. But the main thing, I think, is the tradition and the experience. When you take your family out and you go on the hunt for the perfect Christmas tree and the family tree, and you can't beat that experience.
We've got a lot of second and actually third generations has been coming to the farm. We offer free hay rides going around the field. All on the weekends, we actually have what we call a mulch mountain that's made of our chips from trees that the kids can play in on it. We also have an open fire pit where the customer can sit around to the fire and enjoy the warmth of the fire.
And roasted marshmallows.
And roasting marshmallows with that where they can roast them on a wooden dial that we supply for them.
MacArthur and Penland are each active in the South Carolina Christmas Tree Growers Association. Penland is a former Grower of the Year and has won blue ribbons for his trees at the state fair. Each says the Farm Trade Organization goes a long way towards helping maintain quality in the industry and to help out young, aspiring tree farmers.
You know, you got summer help that we can, employment that we provide. Our farm will hire 15 kids just, during these 2 or 3 weeks of selling time just to make sure the customer's taken care of.
The Christmas Tree Association, which was started in 1964, in a group of fellows from Columbia, gave some support of how to grow a quality tree. Our direction right now is to keep our members informed of legislation problems that happen with things on the horizon, also developing new species that they can have, and then the networking that we get between each of our growers with it. A lot of folks feel like that they can plant a tree and go off and leave it and say, come back in 5 or 6 years and it's ready to go, and we show them how much hard work is into growing a quality tree so that they don't get discouraged right at first.
Penland is also on the board of directors of the National Christmas Tree Growers Association, which works with state associations to help consumers understand the importance and proper care of a fresh-cut tree.
And if the tree's growing, you know that it's going to be fresh. That the tree has a good trunk or what we call handle on it at the very bottom where it'll go into your stand very easily. And then you're looking for one that will hold ornaments well. And so that the main thing is that once the customer cuts that tree, they need to take it home and maybe cut about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch off the trunk, keep the sap from sealing up. And one of the most important things is they should select a tree stand that will hold at least 1 gallon of water with the trunk. A tree will consume 1 quart of water for every inch of trunk. So if your tree trunk is 4 inches across, then that tree will drink approximately 1 gallon of water in the first 24 hours.
And one of the most popular stands around the country is what they call a pin stand, where we'll take the tree and we'll stand it on a machine and drill a hole in the bottom of it, and then the stand just hammers on. And it's made of real sturdy rebar, lasts year after year, and it screws off counterclockwise. Sometimes people don't know how to take it off, but it just screws off, and next year you say drill a hole in the bottom of my tree, and easy, easy.
And that holds a good bit of water.
Holds two gallons of water.
To find a Christmas tree farm near you in South Carolina, log on to scchristmastrees.org. In a moment, we'll head into the kitchen to find out what the chef has cooking for our holiday feast. A holiday dish that's gained popularity across the country in recent years is the deep-fried turkey. Columbia, South Carolina chef Barry Walker, known better by his fan base as Chef Fatback, turns his Max on Main Street restaurant into Turkey Central this time of year, frying up birds for anyone willing to pay the modest price.
The turkey thing was just something I was doing for my customers because they asked me, hey, I don't feel like staying up 8 hours cooking a turkey, and would you fry one for me? And I said, sure. Well, with the recession and all, it became, I'll fry one for anybody now. And we'll even ship it to you if you want to call, just in time for Christmas. With a deep fried turkey, we have to figure out how much oil to put in the pan. So the question is, how much oil will I have to put in this pot, and how much will the turkey displace the oil so it doesn't boil over when I put it inside? That's the key. So now I have turkey in pot in water, and watch what happens. When I take the turkey out, the water level goes down. So now I know how much oil to put in the pot so I can fry my turkey perfectly. It's very important that you're outside to fry a turkey because you don't want to fry it in your garage. You don't want to fry it in your kitchen. You want to be outside, preferably away from your building, not near your automobile. We found that peanut oil can consistently hold that temperature wherever we get it or wherever we set it at, which is going to be around 300 to 350 degrees. So here we go. I'm going to pour my oil in up to the bend using my old trusty peanut oil. You only want to put enough oil to that line that we made in the kitchen. I think it's pretty safe for the next about 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to go inside the kitchen now and get the turkey ready to be dropped in this hot oil. Remember, we're going to get this oil up to 300 degrees before we even attempt to drop it. If you don't do that, the turkey's going to sit in oil and just get really mushy, and you don't want it to do that. So 300 degrees before you even attempt to drop it, preferably between 325 and 350. So come on inside, let's get the turkey ready. Gonna wash the turkey off. All right. So we're gonna have to make sure we run some really good Clorox bleach or something to get the place all sanitized before we do anything else. So now we're ready to inject this turkey with our seasoning, which happens to be Chinese 5-spice and soy sauce. And we're gonna actually inject it in the breast part. It's about an ounce or so. Now I'm moving the needle around. So I put about 2 ounces on that side. It's about 2 ounces on this side of the turkey. Don't forget the legs. The legs are very important. That's my favorite part of the chicken, or that's my favorite part of the turkey. And then I'm gonna put about an ounce or so in the thighs, right down in the thigh meat. This turkey is ready to be fried now. But this way, soy sauce and Chinese 5-spice gives you the saltiness of this, salty taste, and the 5-spice has ginger and turmeric in there and all kinds of other spices that give you that Asian flair to it, which is really, really interesting. And that's the way I'm actually going to drop them in the hot oil, just like that. Now, if you have a trusty assistant like I do, he's going to drop the turkey down in the oil slowly. Go ahead. Slowly. Let me get this out your way, sorry. Put it all the way down. And if my calculations is right and my professors in college was correct, perfect. Look at that. The oil is completely submerged over the bird. It didn't splatter all over the place. It didn't cause a fire. And now we're off to the races. This is a 14-pound turkey, so that's going to take us about, 2.5 minutes per pound. So let's say about 30, 35 minutes before we start checking to see if it's done. Look at that, boys and girls. Woo! There we go. All right, we're going to check the temperature one more time. And yes, we have it. 155, 160. So continue to cook a little more. Check the thigh here. Yep, 155. Yes, it did. All right, our turkey is ready for presentation. So now we're going to take this bad boy in the kitchen and we're going to let him sit for a few minutes, rest, they call it. Here's your perfect fried turkey, ready to be consumed. Now let me show you how juicy these are. You would have thought by frying the heck out of a turkey it'd be dried out, but I want you to look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Just kind of dig in there. Look at this turkey, man. Ooh. Look at how juicy and, wish you could smell this. Look at how juicy and moist that is. You got smell-o-vision? Here, smell that. Look at that, perfectly fried turkey. Juice is just running in there. That's our seasoning, that soy sauce and stuff in there. Wait till you taste this. This is great stuff. And we can fry a turkey for you and ship it to you wherever you are in the United States. And we'll do it for you. We'll gladly do it for you for Christmas.
Chef Fatback graduated with a computer science degree from the University of Connecticut and was transferred to South Carolina by a large company as a computer programmer. But that wasn't enough to keep Fatback happy.
10 years ago, I was a computer programmer sitting behind a terminal fixing everybody's software issues. And I said, before I die, I better do what I really want to do in life, which was open my own place and be able to, experience live jazz and blues in Columbia. And so, opportunity came along to to come downtown Columbia, and I said, well, not a better place. Actually, there probably is no other better place to go but downtown, and here I am. You know, that was 10 years ago.
His training comes naturally from his mom, who is originally from the low country of South Carolina.
You know, I'm gonna cook like I cook at home. I've never been to any culinary institute or anything. I went to the Viola Walker School of Cooking, who was my mom, and she taught me everything I knew about basic cooking. And what I do is try to emulate Sunday afternoon dinner every day, as opposed to just on Sundays. So when you come to Max on Main, you're gonna find macaroni and cheese, collard greens, rice and gravy, okra, corn and tomatoes, corn on the cob, fried chicken every day, and then a second meat, which can be anywhere from chopped barbecue to hamburger steak and onions to shrimp and grits. So, you know, we put it on a buffet. We decided that we're gonna search out all the local farmers for as much as we can on our menu. And we've actually modified our menu a little bit. We actually serve certified South Carolina lamb on our menu. We have certified South Carolina beef. And matter of fact, I met the cow before he met his demise. I can tell you what it looked like. I mean, we're using Angus beef, you know, on our lunch buffet and our night menu. The chickens we get from right around in Ward, South Carolina, I mean, it's everything we need is right here. And I didn't realize that until I actually started doing some research. Right. From fish to poultry to fruits, and of course peaches, you know, for our world famous peach cobbler dessert, and blackberries for our award-winning blackberry desserts. You know, you had some of that, haven't you? Oh, yeah. You know, we can get all that stuff right here in South Carolina, and we actually do. We make that extra effort to do that.
When he's not in the kitchen, the chef is on stage playing the blues.
I realized somewhere along the college years that I better find something that can make some money with, and playing guitar wasn't it. So I actually went and got a degree in mathematics from UConn and became a computer nerd and did all that stuff and made a little money from that. And then I never quite put the guitar down. I always kept it, you know. And so when I came down to Columbia, I actually said, well, let me dust it off and put some new strings and just go out to some jam sessions and see what's going on. And I did that. And it was very, very unique because I met some really cool cats that we actually hit it off and formed a little combo, and we kind of played around in different bars and restaurants around Columbia. Then we actually started expanding our spirits and going regional. We actually played from clubs and venues from North Carolina down to Florida.
For more information on Max on Main in downtown Columbia, South Carolina, or to order your deep-fried turkey in time for Christmas, log on to maxjazzandblues.com. When we come back, we'll talk with a man who's nuts about, well, nuts.
Yeah, we're not Forrest Gump quite.
As we begin this next segment, it bears mentioning that there are two names for the commodity we're featuring: pecans and pecans. Regardless of your preferred pronunciation, a lot of the nuts are sold this time of year. Franklin Jacks is the plant manager of the Southern Nut Company in South Carolina's PD region. Okay, in deference to the geography of the great PD, we'll refer to the nuts in this story as pecans, although I still prefer to say pecans. The Southern Nut Company began after a long-time larger nut processor closed its doors a number of years ago. Franklin buys nuts from anyone who will bring them to the plant. The pecans are weighed, graded by size, and processed.
We buy them at the door for an amount of money, and then from there we take them through a procedure. First we have a sheller that sizes them out into different sizes, from seedlings all the way up to 16s. And then from there we'll take them and we'll go through the processing station where we'll dump them through a destoner, then through a vat that pasteurizes it all. Approximately 180 degrees. Then from there it'll go through the crackers that we usually have set up between 800 to 1100 per minute. 3 crackers, and then that'll be 3,300 pecans a minute we can process. Then it goes through the Shellax machines and then the dryer, and then we'll put them over on the table for a final pick out.
Then the meat of the nuts is bagged for consumer purchase. As if raw pecans weren't good enough, the Southern Nut Company adds value to its commodity by adding things like white or milk chocolate, cinnamon, sugar, butter, and salt. The Southern Nut Company sells gift boxes with varieties of nuts fixed 2 ways up to 7 ways. Christmas is the biggest sales season for the Southern Nut Company, but Franklin says as people learn that refrigerated nuts last a long time, they're now selling a lot of their value-added products for Mother's and Father's Days.
I am Willis Bruce from Bruce's Greenhouses in Blythewood, South Carolina. I am a poinsettia grower, and we've been growing poinsettias for approximately 33 years. For this time of the year, we are only poinsettias. Well, that way we can become specialists in that particular crop. And so then I can keep up on all the newest varieties, all the particular chemicals that would be used on that particular crop, and we can put the fertilizers out that need to be put for that particular crop. So everything is concentrated on that one item. One of the things about poinsettias that a lot of people have trouble with is making them dark so they'll set bud. Well, by making them dark is not really putting them in a dark closet and leaving them for 6 weeks. We obviously don't do that here at the greenhouse, but it is not allowing them to have any light after the Lord makes it dark, after it's dark outside. So in most of the United States, they will bloom for Christmas if you follow that rule. I think one of the reasons that poinsettias are so dear to us here in South Carolina is that they have a South Carolina connection. Joel Poinsett was ambassador to Mexico back in the 1800s, and he noticed these poinsettias growing wild in Mexico. And when he returned to the United States, he brought some back, and that was really the introduction of poinsettias to the United States.
Well, our time's up for this installment of South Carolina's Voices of Agriculture. Thanks for watching. We hope you've learned something about South Carolina's Christmas tree farms and farmers, and have gotten some tips as to how to keep your fresh-cut Christmas tree looking its best through the holiday season. If you'd like to learn more about these topics or anything that we've covered in this installment, please log on to our website, scfb.org. But for now, I'm your host, Reggie Hall, wishing you and your family a very pleasant and happy Christmas season.